Heads up, you're listening to Fresh Cut, hosted by renowned golf superintendent and sought-after course consultant, Tim Barrier. Every week, Tim and his team pull back the curtain with guests to dissect the details and stories of how the PGA and LPGA prepare courses for tournaments. Don't worry, we won't leave you in the rough or sunk in the drink. So tune in, hit that subscribe button, and relax. And now, here's Tim and Matt Palmquist on the Tee Box with this week's guest.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Fresh Cut, powered by Bosch Tools. I am your co-host, Matt Palmquist, along with Tim Barrier, who's obviously the other co-host. And today we have the delightful pleasure of having Dave Stockton Jr., former PGA professional and friend of the show, join us today from his home in Carlsbad. And he's got some fascinating stories. We're excited to hear what he's got to say. Dave, Tim, take it away.
Oh, I got this. I got Dave. Dave's a new friend of mine. We've met just through golf at Goat Hill Park over the last couple of years, probably. I actually had the opportunity of playing golf with Dave about 3 weeks ago, and I will tell you, after 10 years playing on the PGA Tour, he still has his game. He really does. It was a pleasure to play with him.
At the Goat, yeah. I mean, that's a good course for me. It's very
well, it's short, it's executive length, but you can get goated if you hit it even off target just a little bit. So
you can.
You gotta be accurate. And I will say I acquitted myself well. My game was actually not too bad that day. I struck the ball pretty well. So it was nice to not embarrass myself in front of a former PGA Tour player. So
yeah.
First things first. Are you playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the Herdsman?
I am. Yep.
So am I. Who's your partner?
Jerry Fields, a friend of mine. I've played with him the last few years in it. And my son, Jake, is playing with my dad. So we have three generations playing.
Oh, wow.
How awesome is that? His son, Jake, is a former water polo player. I think he's 6'5", and he hits the crap out of the ball. He's become a pretty good little player, a pretty good big player, I think, over the last couple of years.
From the what is it? You drive for show and you putt for dough.
Well, I don't know about his
Dave
putting
Stockton
skills.
Sr. is known for his putting. So there you go.
Absolutely. And is he still working with some folks as a putting guru?
Yeah, he works with a few people. I mean, he's cut back on teaching some, but he's still, at one point we had upwards of 14 people, 14 tour players on the PGA Tour we were working with at one time. And
wow,
right.
Currently, we're not working with anybody on the PGA Tour. We jokingly say that all those guys already know everything, so there's nothing that we can tell them. They don't know.
Well, there's a couple of guys that really could use his help. I know Justin Thomas and Rory, they haven't been able to get the ball in the hole. I mean, they're still striking the ball well, but putting is everything, as we all know. And so I know you sank a couple of clutch putts there a couple of weeks ago. We played, and I can see you've been working with your dad a little bit on and off over the years, but you've been your own coach too, as well, I'm sure. So I'm glad to hear you're playing in the Herdsman. I'm playing in the Herdsman as well. My partner's Johnny Walker, the head pro at Aviara.
I like Johnny Walker.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about the Johnny Walker you drink. And then we're also going to be playing in Reno at the Link Soul 2-man. Nice. Here in a couple of weeks. So he's my partner for that. First thing I want to ask you, Dave, and I've asked a few of our guests over the last few shows about their journey with this game. And for you, with a dad that was on tour, that won 2 PGAs and multiple wins on tour and the Champions Tour as well, what was it like growing up in that environment? And did you feel a little pressure to become a golfer, or was that something that came naturally to you? And how old were you when you started? And I know you went and played golf at USC with our friend John Wardrop, but tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I started playing when I was 2.
Wow.
My dad jokingly says that I would have turned pro and played on tour even if my dad had been a plumber.
That's nice.
I always enjoyed the game. I played all sports growing up, and I just gravitated toward golf. And my summer job growing up, starting when I was 12, was caddying for my dad on the tour. And so I'd spend 3 months caddying, and I loved it. And I told my parents when I was 13 years old that I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life, and that was to play on the PGA Tour. And,
Nice.
Wow.
I realized that dream, and it was a lot of fun. And once it became work, and it wasn't a passion and love, it became work. I switched gears. I was on the road 36 weeks a year. My kids were 5 and 2 at the time, and I was missing things I didn't want to miss. So, while the tour is great and all, it's not all glamorous when you're more of a journeyman player like I was out there.
Well, you got guys like, I think of somebody, Dickie Pride, who's on the Champions Tour now. And I think Dickie might have a win, maybe 2 wins, but he's had this career that has spanned, he's been playing as long as I can remember.
Yeah,
he's probably in his late 50s now.
Yeah, he won at Memphis, the FedEx.
He won the FedEx. Wow. Not the FedEx, but yeah, absolutely. So it's nice to see a journeyman guy like him that, makes that really steady paycheck, that's okay with the travel and maybe staying in not the greatest hotels, but it's a grind. You read some books by Hogan and stuff like that. And the old days where, they're camping.
A guy by the name of Dickie Pride. I mean, you better be proud of his career, right?
He is. Yeah. You got Woody Austin and a few of these other guys that they just hang right in there, and because that's their job, that's their career.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're 13, you want to play on tour. Your dad went to USC, and so you naturally gravitated to USC as well, correct?
Yeah, so did my grandfather. He was
oh wow.
My dad's dad was he was the individual champion in the Pac-8 individual. It was the Pac-8 when my grandfather was there. He won the individual title, and my dad was Pac-10 champion individual, and I didn't do that well in that, but I finished second. My best finish in college was second to Phil in the NCAAs at Oak Tree in '89.
Well, that's not so bad.
Wow.
And what was it? Did you play with Phil? Were you in the final group?
I didn't. I started the tournament. I doubled my first 2 holes starting out, and from there ended up finishing second, losing by 2. My team missed the cut, so I was the only individual because of where I was in the field.
Right.
I got to play the final 36 holes by myself, so I was on the opposite 9. I didn't know. I was just
you were just stroking it. Yeah,
almost got it done, but kind of weird not knowing how I stood.
Sure. Did they have you play with a marker, or were you really out there by yourself?
I had other individuals that made it where their teams didn't, so we were kind of the afterthought, but we were kind of in the mix, and I finished the highest of those guys. But
wow,
yeah, it was a long time ago.
That's cool. That's a really cool story.
Finishing second to a guy like Phil Mickelson, boy, that's saying something. That's a strong year to have to try to win the NCAAs. So, did your dad and your grandfather give you a hard time? You didn't follow through with the 3rd win.
My grandfather had passed away, but my dad was out there. My dad was out there watching me that week, and I had actually forgotten about it until years later. And he said, "You know what I was most proud of you about that NCAAs?" And I said, "No, what?" He said, you came back from doubling the first 2 holes. I'd actually forgotten that I doubled the first 2 holes.
Wow.
So when he mentioned it, I'm like, huh, okay, yeah, that's right. I mean, I totally blocked it out, and Oak Tree was a hard golf course. I was just trying to grind it out.
We'll ask Phil about it when he's on the show. So that'd be cool.
Yeah,
we know who came in second right behind you in 1989.
Oh, he'll know. He'll know for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So being able to forget and move on to the next hole is one of the things that a tour player is able to do.
Yeah.
It's a skill. It's a learned skill. I'm convinced of it.
It's like field goal kickers too. Like,
absolutely.
You've
forget
got
your last kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good point. So you get out of college, you decide you're going to go on the Nike tour. Your rookie year, you win twice. Now,
well, prior to that, I drove my car all over the country for in 91 playing what's now I don't know if it's still the Hooters tour. It was the TC Jordan tour.
Absolutely.
So I played that tour. Then I went to Q school, and I made it through first stage, missed it second. So, and I missed it first stage my first year in 90, then 91, I missed it second
stage.
And then, so then in 92, I went to South Africa and played the Sunshine Tour for 3.5 months.
Oh, wow.
And I learned more in those 3.5 months, going over there with no status, having to Monday qualify.
Yeah.
I missed qualifying for the first one, and then I qualified for the rest.
It was Els playing? He go right to the tour.
He turned pro that season, I met him in a discotheque or a nightclub in Cape Town.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we've had a bunch of beers over the years together, but I remember
good for you.
he won half the events, and I said, yeah, this guy's got a pretty good future ahead of him. You know, a year or two later, he won the U.S. Open. So
yeah, well,
yeah.
So you got a whole amazing group of players, you know, King Louis and a bunch of guys coming out of South Africa, not with a huge golf population, you know, Price and so many great players have come out of South Africa to see Els roll out of there. And he's probably right about your age. He's probably a year younger than you, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'll be 53 here in about 10 days, and he's 51, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he just came out on the Champions Tour not too long ago.
Yeah.
You know, you'd think those guys, he and Phil, if Phil decides he's going to play the Champions, they start beating up on everybody immediately. But I wonder if some of that fire goes away a little bit. Maybe they don't take it as seriously. I know your dad had a bunch of wins on the Champions Tour. What can you say about that? You think the fire goes away for them a little bit? They mean they're more established financially?
Yeah, there could be part of that. I think the other side is their focus is still the PGA Tour. I mean, Phil just won the PGA, for crying out loud.
I know.
So,
crazy.
You know, when you win a major at 50, you're still going to want to compete against the best players in the world, and you should be. And trust me, while the Champions Tour guys, you know, they love having Phil come out occasionally because it's good for the tour. They don't want him on a steady diet.
No. I bet that's a little bit political. You know,
they don't
a little bit of pressure on him.
There's a fine line there, I think, but
write him on his Twitter account about his calves or something like that. You know, calves are shrinking. Maybe you don't belong out here with us.
Well, we're about halfway. We're about halfway done with the show right now. We're going to power through with Bosch Power Tools. But the one question I have for you, Dave, is what is the most memorable shot? Because you told the story about your dad remembering, you know, parts of your game that you didn't recall at the time, but what's the most memorable shot that you've ever had in your career, whether it's on tour, whether it's playing at the GOAT, whatever? Like what is
last Friday at the GOAT and the Skins game, I hit a driver over the trees on 3,
and you made eagle.
2 feet. I made eagle.
Skin. You made a skin.
That's
Johnny
fantastic.
Walker, my partner this Friday, thought he had the skin sewed up, and Eli just texted him, nope, Dave had eagle.
That's amazing. You've had a great career, and your most memorable shot is you.
Well, maybe it's not his most memorable. He's just telling you what it's
the GOAT.
So it's so easy to get goated there. It's nice when something really good happens to you.
Yeah. No, I would say, I mean, one that stands out to me. I mean, obviously, I hit a lot of shots on tour, but one that stands out to me was actually my last time getting through Q School finals. I got through Q School finals 4 times, won it 1 year, but my last year getting through was 2002, and I was toward the end of playing, even though I was going to play through 2004, but I'm at Q School playing the stadium course, final round, sixth round of it. I'm at 8 under par, and I know I'm right on the cut line, and half the field plays the Nicklaus tournament, and the other half plays the stadium. So I'm on the harder of the courses, and I had chipped in on 15 for birdie to go to 10 under, 2 under on the day, and I played kind of safe on 16. I didn't want to be in that bunker left, and then I stood up on 17 tee, the Alcatraz, and we had a group on the tee waiting, so we had to wait an extra 30 minutes.
God.
And I knew that I had a feeling I had at least a shot to play with. I thought it was going to be 9. So I knew that if I hit the green on 17, I could play for bogey on 18 if I wanted. I was still going to have my tour card. And, you know, the pressure there is totally different in that if you have a good week, you're playing for 5 million a week. If you have a bad week, you're playing for 500,000.
Right.
So it's a difference between flying around the country and driving around the country. And
right.
I hit an 8-iron that as soon as I made contact, I knew it was right in the middle of the green. I just hit it perfect and actually hit it in the bunker on 18, made par, hit it in the bunker on 18. I told Johnny Wardrop.
Johnny was your caddy.
Yeah, I said, hey, I can get there from this lie. I have enough room with the lip. And he handed me the wedge. He goes, bro, wedge, 1 or 2 putt, you got your card.
That's Johnny.
So I wedged it out. I wedged it to about 10, 12 feet, and I made it for par to make it by 2.
No John Van de Velde's.
No, you do what you have to do to get through.
Yeah.
That Q school is, I wish I'd played on tour the way I did in Q school after I figured out how to do it. But
Did you feel more pressure
Oh.
at Q school than you've ever felt before?
yes, yeah. And you learn a lesson. I mean, my first year getting to finals was 92, and it was in Woodlands, Texas. And I went about it the whole wrong way. And I was
Houston?
thinking what's that?
In Houston.
Yeah, the Woodlands, North Houston. Yeah.
I was thinking outcome and what's it going to take here. And I was watching what everybody was shooting every day. And I beat like 10 guys, and that was it. And I had a conditional Nike card going out, and took me 7 or 8 weeks before I finally got into one. And luckily I won twice and got me exempt to finals at PGA West. And I changed my attitude. My mindset was, I don't care what anybody shoots. I'm not going to look at scores. My goal is to win.
Right.
And I ended up beating Jesper Parnevik by a shot. So,
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Well, so you're playing the golf course. You're not playing them, and that's, I think, one of the things we lose sight of when we're in a competition is, you're playing the golf course, and you can't control what anybody else does.
Yeah.
So, I've heard that about Q school. And I know there's guys like Mac O'Grady who've been to like 18 to 20 times at Q school. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever met Mac.
I worked with Mac. I worked with him.
Oh, that's amazing. I met him at
late
Riviera.
80s.
I met him at Riviera during the PGA in 94 and 95 when Elk won it. But he's kind of a swing and putting guru as well, Matt, for our uninitiated in the audience.
Yeah. I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
So we've got about 5 minutes left. We got to let you go because you're working with an LPGA tour player. And can you maybe talk about her? What's her name again?
Bianca Pagdananan.
Wow. And then is she new on tour? I've not kept up with her.
She's considered a rookie. She's 23, and she's from the Philippines. She's getting ready to go over and play in the Olympics for her country. And
fantastic.
She's flying over right after we work today. So
you're dialing her.
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Good for you, Dave.
Well, we wish her the best. Yeah,
absolutely.
She's great.
So, one of the things that this show really wants to talk about from time to time, and a little bit of pulling that curtain back, is turf conditions. And you've been playing this game a long, long time, back from the early 90s, or heck, you've been playing all the way through the 80s as well. What have you noticed conditioning wise? I know the television has really put a premium on conditions for everybody's golf course at every club across the country, and it's raised the bar, and it's raised the pressure on golf course superintendents to deliver those types of conditions. But how have those conditions changed in your opinion, from tee to green, through the green?
No, it's night and day. I mean, from the agronomy to the equipment that superintendents are using, it used to be, I mean, I remember going and playing in Florida and having really tough grain to deal with. And now it's like, in fact, my dad hated playing in Florida all through the
shiny side, the dull side, right?
Yeah. I mean, just dealing with the grain was always, a pain. And he got in a bad mindset going to Florida. And then he won a Champions Tour event down in Tampa or somewhere. I don't know, it was Tampa, but he won in Naples or something. And he laughed. He's like, the greens now are so good. The conditions, the way the superintendents, the turf, the different types of turf that they're growing. It's phenomenal
totally
now. I mean, I learned when I went and played in South Africa in 92, and, conditions there weren't ideal. And there was some rough courses we played, and condition wise, I after playing there, I said I'd never complain about course conditions again. But you know what? Someone's got to win. So if you have a bad attitude and you're going to complain about conditions, then have fun being miserable on the golf course.
Just go get better. Go see your friendly neighborhood golf pro.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Goat Hill Park. My mom's dad, my grandfather, used to play there in the 60s and 70s, and even in the late 50s he played there. It's been around since 52. And it was mostly dirt.
It's just dirt.
And you go out there now, and the job that John Ashworth and the crew and everybody out there has done has just been phenomenal. I mean, it's a testament to the passion that the ownership has for the club, and the community and everybody that goes out there and plays it understands that.
Yeah,
Well,
she's got it.
Yeah, well, we've got about a minute left, and the one thing that I wanted to plug for you, Dave, is Back Nine Greens. You're partnering with this company. They did something for you, and then you were like blown away. So tell us about Back Nine Greens in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, if I can go a little longer,
He can go a little longer.
Go a little longer.
We got to get him out of here, but he's got some time.
I got tired of my water bill. I was living in Rancho Mirage, and my water bill kept going up. And water here in California is at a premium, like it is in most places. But I got tired of looking out at a lawn that only looked good 3 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at synthetic companies, and I went with Back Nine Greens, and I was just shocked at the playability and the quality and the look and the feel. And I got to know Dominic Nappy, the owner. He's been in business 24 years, and I've been in the golf business basically my whole life. And I told him I know a lot of people that would want these, and so I've been a partner with him for 7 years and traveling around the country, even done them outside of the country. Just did one down at in Cabo at Diamante at a friend's house, and I mean they're just so much fun. I love getting into the design side and putting something in that looks like it was always meant to fit and be there.
Yeah.
And I just finished one in the Woodlands, Texas, for a guy who's become a friend. Did a par 3 in his backyard,
Wow.
2 tee boxes, and I texted him just yesterday. I said, "How many hole-in-ones so far?" And he said 5, 3 from the front tee and 2 from the back.
No way.
Yeah,
Nice.
really
Amazing.
cool.
Funny thing, I sat on a plane with Dominic about 15 years ago. I don't remember where I was coming from, but he was sitting right next to me on a plane, and he's I've got this company. This is synthetic golf greens, and I'm like, well, I'm a golf course superintendent. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Because back then it still hadn't established itself.
So Back Nine Greens,
Back Nine
greens.com. NINE greens.com.
And this is my recommendation. Anybody listening to this that thinks that you're just going to put in a natural turf putting green in your backyard and think that it's going to be easy. It is going to be a cost center. It's like buying a boat. It'll be a hole in the ground you pour money into every month. Just bite the bullet, go with Back Nine Greens.
Yeah.
And make it easy on yourself. And you're going to get better as a player because those greens roll the exact same time every time you play.
It was a pleasure having you on the show, Dave.
Thanks,
I will
man.
see you soon. I'm going to go to the GOAT, and I will hack it up with you. You know. I usually shoot snowmans, but
bring your $20.
Yeah, So thank you so much for being on the show. It was an unbelievable pleasure, and so I wish you well on your endeavors with Back Nine Greens, and thank you again. And you're most welcome back anytime you want to come.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate you having me on.
Dave, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck
Take
with
care.
her. I hope she wins the gold medal.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
All right, brother.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Take care.
You got
Bye,
it.
Dave.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
And that's all for our show today, guys. Come back, tune in next week for Fresh Cut, powered by Bosch Tools. And we're signing off.
See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to Fresh Cut. Tune in next week for another amazing guest. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you're playing the great game of golf today, fill in those divots and stay on the cart paths.